Hi everyone, Assalamu alaikum. I am Shahriar Rahat, student of Masters Final Year English Department, Govt.Hazi Mohammad, Mohsin College, Chittagong. Today I am going to discuss a topic from English Honours third year. The name of the topic is The Duchess of Malfi, written by John Webster. Historical context. The play is based on Italian novella translated into English, The Palace of Pleasure, which in turn based on the historical events. The real Duchess, the Gloriana Aragona, married Antonio Beccadelli in secret and bore him 3 children. She was murdered by her brother, one of whom was a cardinal in 1510. Webster's main chances to the true story are Antonio didn't die until a few years after Duchess' death, and Bossola's repentance and ultimate betrayal and murder of the brothers is fictionalized, as two were never accused or killed. Past performance. In all probability, in 1614, The Duchess of Malfi was performed by the King's Men, the theatre company to which Shakespeare belonged, and performed all of his work. The first production of The Duchess of Malfi was filled with his friends and peers. Richard Burgess, for example, who played a famous character Chance's Hamlet and King Lear, was the first to play Duke Ferdinand, and Henry Cardinal, one of the editors and publisher of Shakespeare First Folio, first played the Cardinal. Summary. The Duchess of Malfi takes place in Roman Catholic Italy. It begins in the palace of Duchess, a young widow, the ruler of the Italian town of Amalfi. Her steward Antonio just returned from a visit to the France court, and Bossola, a murderer and former employee of her brother. The cardinal just returned after punishment. Soon Duke Ferdinand, the Duchess' other brother, enters with the whole followers. In a private conversation with his Delio, Antonio reveals that the cardinal and duke appear good. They are in good, jealous, cunning, and despicable. He adds that though her brothers are horrible, the Duchess is noble, temperate, and beautiful and intelligent. Even though Duchess is still young and beautiful, her brothers don't want her to remarry. They hope to both preserve their honor by ensuring for ongoing sexual purity, and to eventually inherit her fortune by forcing her to remarry a widow. In order to make sure that they have their way, Ferdinand gets Bossola a position on the Duchess' estate and hires him to be on his spy. Bossola doesn't want to be a spy, but he feels that it is his duty to obey the Duke, even if doing so makes him corrupted. Ferdinand and Cardinal confront the Duchess with Rahat's speech instructing her not to remarry. She agrees not to do, but as soon as her brothers leave, she tells her maid Cariola that she will marry in secret. The Duchess then woos Antonio, inverting the traditional male and female rules in courtship. The two marry in secret. 9 months later, the Duchess is pregnant with Antonio's child. Bossola is still spying for Ferdinand, notes the signs of her pregnancy, and plans to give her apricot as a test, because they are known to induce labor. The Duchess eats the apricot and goes into labor, creating chaos in her palace. They try to maintain the secret. Antonio and the Duchess gives out a story that the Duchess has fallen ill with some disease. Antonio confronts Bossola to ask if the apricot were poisoned. Bossola denies the accusation. After the confrontation, he notices Antonio has accidentally dropped a piece of paper. It is a horoscope for a baby, which provides the Bossola with concrete evidence that the Duchess had a child. He decides to send the paper in a letter to the Duchess' brother in Rome. When Ferdinand and the Cardinal learns the Duchess has disobeyed them, they are infuriated, thinking their noble blood has been tainted. Overwhelmed with anger by the idea the Duchess has been having sex, but they decide to wait to find out the father before taking action. A few years later, the Duchess has set 2 more of the Antonio's children, Ferdinand, who learn of the children from Bossola and decides to confront the Duchess in her bedchamber. Ferdinand sneaks into frightened and Duchess, giving her a knife and suggesting that she kills herself. She admits that she is married and becomes enraged. He says that she has lost her reputation, and he swears he will never see her again in life. Antonio and the Duchess make plan to flee. A Duchess announces Antonio has been using her position to rob her, has been fired as an excuse to get him out of Amalfi. After Bosola privately defends Antonio to Duchess as being honorable and worthy, the Duchess confides in Bosola that Antonio is innocent and is in fact her husband. She plans to flee to join him. Back in Rome, the Cardinal and Ferdinand finds out Bosola about the Duchess' plan. The Cardinal then formally banishes the Duchess, Antonio, and their children. Ferdinand invites Antonio to reconcile, but Antonio believes this is a trap, so instead of accepting the invitation, he flees with his eldest son to Milan. After he leaves, Bosola re-enters in disguise and takes Duchess and other two children captive under order from the brothers. The brothers imprison the Duchess in the Amalfi Palace. There, because Ferdinand has sworn never to see Duchess, confront her in the dark. He gives his hand to hold and then reveal that it is the hand of a dead man in order to convince Antonio is dead. Trick Silhouette to convince Duchess her children also dead, at which point the Duchess want to die. Ferdinand reveals to Bosola that he plans to torture by exposing her to madmen from the local insane asylum. While Bosola feels bad for the Duchess and dislikes that he is participating in her torture, and he continues to obey the Duke. In her prison, the madmen confront the Duchess and Cariona, and Bosola then enters disguised as an old man, and he tells that the Duchess and he is going to kill her. The Duchess maintains her composure and is unafraid, but the executioner enters and strangles her with her two children and Cariola. Though Ferdinand has no pity for the children, he immediately begins to feel maddened by guilt, and Bosola is also overtaken by guilty conscience. Ferdinand then condemns Bosola for following his orders and refuses to pay for his work. After Ferdinand has departed, the Duchess wakes up for a long enough for Bosola to tell her that her husband is still alive. She dies for real almost immediately after waking up. Now in Milan, Antonio doesn't yet know his wife's fate. He decides to wager everything and confront the Cardinal in person is an attempt to defuse the situation. Ferdinand, meanwhile, has been diagnosed with lycanthropia, a disease. He begins to acting like madman, even attacking his shadow, clearly plagued by guilt. The Cardinal wants his involvement in the murder to remain secret, and he instructs Bosola to murder Antonio. A woman named Julia, with whom the Cardinal has been having an affair, becomes smitten with Bosola, and he convinces Julia to try and get a confession out of the Cardinal. Julia confronts the Cardinal and finds out his secret as he forces her to kiss a poison book, thereby killing her. Bosola reveals to Cardinal that has been overseen his murder in the Cardinal confession. He agrees to help Cardinal in return for payment, but in fact this is a trick. He decides he will do everything in his power to save Antonio and get revenge on the brothers. From the Cardinal place, the Cardinal tells all of his courtiers to stay away from the room, no matter what they hear, even if he tests them with screams and shout. Bosola sneaks in the palace and overhears that the Cardinal plans to kill him after he helps Cardinal. Soon after, Antonio sneaks into the palace to find the Cardinal and the quarrel. However, in the dark room, Bosola accidentally stabs Antonio and mistaking him for one of his brothers. Antonio lives just long enough for Bosola to inform him the Duchess and two of their children have been murdered at the Cardinal. When the Cardinal starts screaming for help, no one comes because of his instruction. They stay away. In the chaos, Bosola stabs the Cardinal twice. Ferdinand then enters and mistaking his brother for devil stabs steps both the cardinal and Bossola. Bossola then steps Ferdinand, who uses his dying words to say that our death are caused by our own actions. While Bossola explains what happened, the cardinal dies, and after Bossola makes a final speech, he dies as well. After all of the deaths, the Delio enters with Antonius' son, announces his intention to help the son to receive proper inheritance, and ends the play.